Been there before. To get the ball up in there, what we need to do is hit down on the golf ball to obviously try and get that maximum height. But what happens is a lot of golfers kind of focus too much on this and don't focus on where the club's actually making contact with the ground. So fault number one is what I kind of see is a lot of golfers say, oh, you need to hit down on the golf ball. But what happens is the handle gets a little bit too far forward, the hands, and what happens from there is the club head, we're going to dig the club head into the ground. So a simple drill that I always use, think about, we're getting that into a position where we're getting the club to kind of finish relative to our right knee. What happens from there is if a lot of golfers drag on that handle, what's going to happen is the club's going to hit the ground miles before the actual golf ball. So think about it this way. What happens is the club starts to work down the way as we get to our right knee, but what happens is the club starts to work more up the way as the club head hits the ground. Okay, so into a position where they kind of hold on to this angle for too long, and what happens from there is they either hit the ball a little bit fat behind the golf ball, but that creates a lot of forward shaft lean, a lot of strike issues, a decrease in actual loft at impact. So get the club up to the top of the backswing, stop halfway down. So think about, as we get to that position, that almost the top of the club starts to work back up the way, okay? So think about, we're not actually hitting down on the golf ball, the kind of club comes down naturally because of gravity, but what happens from there is the weight goes down in the club head, the hands move up the way because of the butt end starts to move up the way because of the weight of the club. It's basically, think of scales, that the weight of the scales go down the way, the light part of the scales go up the way. Position where we're dragging on the handle, because what happens from there is the club digs into the ground, the butt end's got nowhere to go but to drag forward. So what do we do from there? We force our weight back to try and get the club to work up the way. So we're not in this position where we're dragging on the handle, and then what I want you to focus on is I want you to focus on the position of your knees relative to the ground. So I see fault number one, when golfers get to the top of the backswing, their body starts to stand up early, and what happens is they release all the angles that they have. So almost in this position, they stand up early. What happens is they either top the golf ball, they either thin it, and then they don't create a lot of consistency. So what we need to do, think of Rory McIlroy in this position. So we're not hitting down with iron, okay? We're letting the body kind of do the work. The club head moves down because of gravity, but the body starts to work up the way, which is going to allow the club head to move up and us to create a nice shallow angle attack. Create more flexion into impact. What I mean by that is we need to keep our body in a position where we're kind of in a good posture, our body's bent for longer, and then from there what happens is our left leg moves down, left knee moves into the ground. What's going to happen from there is if our body moves down the way, it's going to move back up as we hit the golf ball. I see commonality number one, when golfers stand up, they lose their knee flex really early. So what we need to do is we need to think about our knees go down, left knee goes into the ground, and our right knee, and that's going to allow us to push up off the ground. So think about your jumping, pressed into the ground, jump up. That's going to allow us to create more consistency. So left knee goes down the way, that's going to allow the left leg to straighten through impact. We're standing a little bit taller to start off with. Then as we start down, we're pressing the left leg into the ground. That allows the knee to move up the way. So think about the left knee going from where your toes positioned up to where that's going to allow you to generally create more consistency. Let's hit a shot doing this. Pushing more into the ground, which allows the body to move up the way and us to create less chance of hitting down on the golf ball and more consistency. Tip number three, what we're going to focus on is think of, as we take the club back, what happens is we kind of create body flexion. What I mean by that is you see the angle between my knees and my torso. So see how that angle is kind of close together. What actually happens is as we hit the golf ball, our chest starts to move towards the target. That angle starts to decrease, okay? So our legs start to straighten. So think what happens is their body stays bent for too long and they get into this position where they're going to hit the ground. So almost in this position, they take the club back, their body stays in flexion for too long, this angle kind of stays really close together, and then they duff the shot. So think about, we need to decrease that angle by allowing our chest to go towards the target, okay? So what you need to do is get to the top of that swing, keep that angle intact for kind of a little less time next time. So get to the top of that swing, allow that angle to straighten early, or straighten in the legs, which is going to allow your chest to point towards target. So if we keep our knees kind of flexed for longer, then what happens is we're going to drag on the handle, the the club head's going to dig into the ground, and then you're not going to create a lot of consistency. So that swing, we're creating a little bit of knee bend, we're creating a little bit of forward tilt in our body, but what's going to happen from there is that angle is going to lose, we're going to lose that angle a little bit earlier into that position, okay? So see how there I'm going to create a bit more right bend, so my right my right shoulder's going almost down to my right hip in that position. If we get into this position, then we're not going to create a lot of side bend, okay? So what we need to do, get to the top of that swing, allow the body to flex and then start to straighten up. So that movement there, the legs start to straighten up. What happens from there is the butt end starts to work up the way, or less chance of holding on to that angle. So top of that swing, flex the left knee into the ground, keep that flexion in the body, and then start to lose those angles a little bit earlier into the downswing, almost in this position, chest works towards target. We get a little bit right bend in this position, and our legs start to straighten and our body starts to straighten. So think of these three concepts, okay? So we're not dragging this handle, we're not hitting down in it, okay? So if we get the club into a better position on the backs, on the downswing, where we're getting to kind of last parallel, where the club's parallel to our right kind of knee, then what happens from there is the weight of the club head throws the club head down, the butt end starts to work up the way, and that's going to help you create more consistency and less chance of digging into the ground. So tip number 2, we're allowing the left knee to move into the ground, then the left leg starts to straighten as we get to impact. Our tip number 3, our kind of body moves, so our body moves from flexion into more extension as we hit the golf ball, and that's going to help you create more consistency. So 3 simple tips. The simple tips is going to help you get your golf on track. So box below what you're working on with in your game at the moment and what you think of the video. And what I'm going to do over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to do swing analysis videos. So the first two or three people that email me via Jamie Allen Golf a video of their swing will get a free swing analysis video on my YouTube channel. I'm going to discuss what you need to do to improve it, and a couple of drills to hopefully point you in the right direction. Thanks for listening, subscribe to the channel, share the video around and like the video. Thanks for listening.